Welcome home. I'm Tamara Alicia, your host, and this is Soul Drops, a podcast dedicated to the expansion of the heart, mind, and soul, a safe place for reflection, healing, and self-understanding. Take a deep breath with me, and let's begin. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Soul Drops. This is Tamara Alicia, and I am your host. Today, I want to share something personal with you all, and it's going to tie into today's episode and kind of a little bit of last week's episode as well. So today I want to talk about something called the mirror effect. And the mirror effect is how people reveal what's hidden within inside of us. So by that, what I mean is sometimes people come into our lives in order to be able to reflect things about ourselves that are hidden so deep or that we already think we healed and it's out of our mind. And then this person just comes in and sometimes peacefully they point out these things. Sometimes it's not so peaceful and they point out these things. And they don't necessarily verbally point them out. It could just be that their presence triggers something inside of you. Whether that something inside of you is insecurity, whether that something inside of you are your abandonment issues or your self-worth or lack of love or lack of drive or ambition or whatever the thing is, right? This person comes into your life, and a lot of times the person is not there to be a person for all seasons, meaning they're not supposed to be there forever. Some people are, right? But some people come into your life in order to be able to allow you to see that aspect of yourself. And then their mission has been accomplished, and typically things just dissolve as they will. So when I said I wanted to discuss something personal, one of the things that I noticed in my previous relationship was my abandonment issues that came up. And I thought I had already worked through those. Those are done. I was good to go. Went to therapy, did spiritual healing as well. I thought I was packed up to go. I thought I was healed in that department. But apparently I wasn't. And I noticed that kind of midway in the relationship that I definitely started to feel like it was getting very serious. And what if this person leaves? And I caught it. I caught it. I caught it myself. And I am so grateful for that level of self-awareness that I was able to catch that I was feeling this way, because I was like, hold on, this is not right. This is not right. And I was able to think back to, okay, well, why are you feeling this way? Why do you feel as though everyone that loves you will abandon you? Do you feel this way because of your parents? Do you feel this way because the first example of love that you were supposed to learn from disappointed you? But that doesn't mean that everyone will disappoint you. And also, someone disappointed them. So they were just human beings doing the best they could do. And this is what came of it. But you have to heal from this experience. And it was just such a revelation to myself. One, that I still had these issues that I thought I got rid of, right? That I thought I healed from. And two, that I was able to talk myself through that entire process and connect it back to kind of the source of what initially made me feel like this. So I'll talk more about kind of the little lessons that I learned from this relationship on my way throughout the episode, but I want to just keep going with this. So I know we've all met a person that really just stirred something in us. Maybe that thing was something super intense, right? Maybe it was confusing, or maybe it was just very emotional, like in an unexpected way. And you probably thought, what is it about this person? Why does this connection feel so intense? Sometimes it can feel so triggering, it can feel so loving at times, but 9 times out of 10, it always feels magnetic, right? It always feels like you are drawn to this person, even if you know this person is not good for you. For whatever reason, you feel drawn to this person. And I believe the reason why we feel drawn to these type of people, to have these types of experiences, is because we're supposed to learn from them. It's not necessarily about the person, it is about the lesson that the person was sent to reflect to us about ourselves. And I think that that level of truth could only be revealed by someone acting as a mirror for us, right? And sometimes the message is really beautiful that we get. Sometimes the lesson is very beautiful. But a lot of times, it brings up some things that you thought like, wow, I thought we moved past this self. What's going on? But either way, the lesson has to be learned, and we just have to take the lesson for the lesson and don't attach emotion to it. And I know that is super hard to say, don't attach uh your emotions to it. But it's like when you have a test at school, right? And you study for the test, you think you're going to pass the test, and then you do your work, you hand it in to your teacher, and then your teacher marks like half the answers wrong. It's no point in getting emotional about getting half of the answers wrong on the test, because it's not going to change the fact that you got all those answers wrong. What can help, though, if you go back and you do more work to figure out what you don't understand so that you can fix the problem moving forward, and the next test that you have, you'll pass. You get what I'm saying? So always try and reflect back on that. Think back on, if right now you're in a relationship where you are feeling personally attacked, right? Are you really being personally attacked? Or is this just some aspect of yourself that hasn't been healed, that you know you need to work on, that you're being resistant to? Because a lot of times it is just a hidden wound. Other times it could be parts of ourselves that we have buried so deeply from childhood, adolescence, that we want to forget about it. So we bury it. We bury our light, our power, our truth. And sometimes the only way to bring that out is another person coming into our lives to show us that. For me, like I said before, the person that entered my life reawoken my abandonment wound for sure. And I know that it was never to hurt or to harm me, but it made me realize that I still have work to do, that subconsciously, somewhere inside of myself, I am still that person that is afraid to lose love that is given to me from someone else. And I remember throughout the process when I was going through this, I was thinking about this book that I love, and I can never remember the name of it. But I will post it in the show notes. Um, but it's a book that I've listened to like a trillion times on Audible. And one of my favorite lines in the book is about love, and love being something that you feel coming outside of yourself, right? So when you are in a relationship and you feel like you're so in love with this person, okay, you are in love with the person, but you're more so in love with the love that is coming out of yourself, if that makes any sense at all. It's that feeling that you get when you love someone, that is like just the most warm and nurturing and protective and just amazing feeling. But that feeling is coming from you. that person is not necessarily providing that feeling to you. That feeling is coming out of you, and you love when you feel that way. It's just like when people say, "Oh, I love love." I never used to get that saying until I felt that way. And I understand the feeling of loving the feeling of love because it is beautiful and it is intense and it is just amazing. And so throughout this process that I was going through internally, and I also shared that with my partner, like, hey, this is the reason why I was being resistant was because I have these abandonment issues. And I'm telling you this because I want you to know this. Like, you have to know this. And just telling him that allowed me to heal some of that trauma because I was acknowledging it, right? And I was putting a name to it. And I was also telling him how I identified it with my past. And so that entire process, and then figuring out that, the love that I was feeling for him was also the love that was coming out of me, and I enjoyed that feeling. And I thought to myself, well, if abandonment issues are tied to losing something, right? I'm not losing myself. So therefore I won't lose this love, right? I won't lose this love. And that helped me to figure out that there was no need to be afraid of someone leaving because love will always be there. Because love exists inside of me. Love exists inside of you. So you don't ever have to be afraid of losing it because you can't. And it just really was a profound moment for me. And I actually think that if I had never met this man, I would have never learned this lesson. And maybe, down the line when I'm in another relationship, I will have this at the forefront of my mind when I'm going in about these issues that I know that are still living inside of me and that I still need to work on. But I am truly grateful for this man. And it kind of goes back to that same conversation that I had with you guys last week about having an open heart, right? Leading with your heart. Because a situation like this, where these traumas are brought up in your life, can easily make someone close your heart off, right? Because you're vulnerable and you don't want to become hurt. But I knew that there was something there that I had to receive. So I had to stay open. I had to stay open. And so these connections, as I said, sometimes they're brief, sometimes they're long, but I believe that they're soul contracts. These are kind of unspoken agreements that we make to each other energetically before we become these physical beings here on earth. And they basically say, look here, this is still unhealed in you. This is still unseen in you. This is still unloved in you. And it's hard sometimes because our ego makes us want to lash out at this person sometimes, or these people that we have that come into our lives because we feel like, oh, they hurt us. They ghosted me. They didn't choose me. They triggered me. But honestly, they just really showed you, right? They just really showed you an aspect of yourself that is still hurt, still sensitive, still extremely tender. And when someone shows us an aspect of ourselves that we don't even want to deal with, it is, man, that shit hurts. Like I can't I can't even think of a better way to say that other than it hurts. And in my own life, I've learned lessons through plenty of romantic relationship, friendships. I previously had a long standing friendship where after, I don't know, over 10 years, I figured out that this person was never really my friend. We just knew each other for a long time. And because of my abandonment issues, right, I held on to something that wasn't growing. It was stagnant. And I just kept it around like a child that drags around an old teddy bear that's like falling apart, losing eyeballs, losing legs. The stuffing in the teddy bear is coming all out, but they can't let go of it because they feel like they need it. They feel like without it, they'll be incomplete or a part of them is missing and they can't lose anything else, right? They can't lose anything else. So they just hold on to that teddy bear. And that was me. And I had to let that go because it was time. And the crazy thing is that when we let these when we learn these lessons and we let these things go, initially you think it's going to be the hardest thing that you will ever have to do. Like literally the hardest. But then you do it and it just feels like this is how it was supposed to be anyway. And you kind of feel like, why did I wait so long to do this? Like what was taking me so long? Why was I holding on to this thing for so long that wasn't holding on to me back, right? And it takes a lot to get out of our comfort zones also when we feel that way because a lot of times when we are in relationships with people and we just want it to work, right? We want it to work. We want it to be a certain way. We relax into this comfort zone where we're like, you know what? This is good. I can work with this. This just needs to change a little bit, or I could just be more patient, or, whatever the thing is. We stay in these comfort zones that are unhealthy for us because they are connected to our trauma. We stay in places where our fears aren't being exposed, where our insecurities are not being ignited out of comfort. And then once those fears are exposed, like that fear of abandonment, or feeling like unworthy of something or someone, and just the complete wildfire of insecurities that happen after that, it leaves you feeling like scorched. It makes you feel as if you can't believe that this person is burning you down like this. And I think that we have to get to this point where not that we become ash, right? Not that we're like burnt down to to our foundation, but that we understand that that type of fire and that type of energy that comes into our life is to help us cleanse ourselves of that trauma and that hurt, and for us to recognize it and work through it. It's just a mirror. You're not fighting against this person. You're actually fighting against yourself. You're fighting against all of the insecurities, all of the doubts, all of the trauma, all of the things that we cannot see ourselves, and we need someone else to see that for us. I previously did a storytelling circle time with a group of friends, and one friend in particular named Betty mentioned something that just stuck in my brain, and it was about community and how we need people, right? And she said, you can't see the dirt on the back of your own ear. And I don't know why that particular saying stuck in my brain, but it did. And it's so true. And it's the same as what I said about mirroring and that we need someone else to reflect the insecurities and the things that we can't see, right? Like the back of your ear, like that dirt at the back of your ear that we can't see. We need someone else to do that for us, especially when those wounds and that trauma is so deep that we are oblivious and blind to it. So shout out to Betty for that because that's kind of like an earworm that has taken residence in my mind. Um, and I appreciate it. I really, really love that saying. Getting back on task. So if someone has recently left your life and you're still holding on to like the weight of that memory. And I think you guys all know what I'm talking about. Like when you cannot stop thinking about that person, when you cannot stop journaling about that person, when they're just like infesting your mind. Um, I want you to ask yourself, what did they reveal, right? What mirror did they hold up to you when you felt your most vulnerable, when you felt your most triggered, when you felt your most naked and maybe even ashamed in that nakedness? What came up? What came up? Because those things that came up are the things that you need to work on or the things that you need to heal from. And I know, trust me, I know it can be extremely painful, but we have to do the work. We have to do the work, not only for ourselves so that we can heal and so that we can be better people and so that we can have better relationships, but also for the people around you. I always say that everything is all about the self. When we change ourselves, our everything about our outside perspective change, right? So for example, if you're a person that constantly says that my life is shit, I'm never going to be able to do what I want to do, I'm never going to be able to have what I want to have, guess what your outside world is going to be? It's going to be shit, babe. And that's because that is the reality that you are manifesting. That is the type of frequency that you are putting out. The energy that you are putting out in the world is that, hey, I want more of this. I want more experiences that don't feel good. I want more relationships that continuously fail. I want more friendships that don't feel whole and wholesome. I want more experiences where I don't get the things that I want. And it's because of the energy that you're putting out. Let's say you have another person that's like, you know what? I'm so glad that I have these amazing friends in my life or this amazing friend in my life. And I want more of these experiences. I want more community. I want more opportunities to have experiences where I can heal. Now, when we say that, right, that doesn't mean those experiences, as far as the healing part, the people that we are having these experiences from is always going to be pleasant. Because I know in the spiritual community, especially now that it's getting so aesthetic-y, right? People will think like, oh, I'll just go hold a crystal and have, and have beautiful healing experiences and land it filled with wildflowers. And don't get me wrong, right? Like spirituality is massively beautiful, but also it's work. It is work. And it is work that is crying. It is work, and I'm talking about like the ugly kind of crying where you like got snot and like your eyes is puffy and you get a headache afterwards, but the nap be real good afterwards because you done exhausted yourself. Um it's heavy, y'all, when you really get into the work of going through what actually is going on with me, baby. It's whew, it is a lot. And when you start connecting those dots to your past and why you are the way you are, the wow moments, the epiphanies that come from that are just mind blowing. And I'm going to be a little more personal with you guys. So I used to have a really, really big issue or really, really big struggle with accepting compliments. And in a way, I still do, right? It's still kind of a cringy moment for me, but I'm just learning to be still and sit still and accept it. Whereas before, I would try and laugh it off or try and um, like talk about someone else's accomplishments because it made me feel really uncomfortable. And the reason why it made me feel uncomfortable was because as a child, I always felt invisible to my parents. And growing up, I didn't feel I felt unseen, unwanted, like all of the things. And so when people give me a compliment, especially in the beginning before I even acknowledged that it was connected to this, I would feel like I would feel seen. Like I would feel which is you think you would want to feel seen, right? But after so many years of my life growing up feeling invisible, and sometimes even still feeling invisible now, if I have to be honest, at times, um, someone acknowledging something that I did well or something that I do well, it's like imagine someone with stage fright being put on the center of the biggest stage in the world and then every light being shine on them as a spotlight. That's what it feels like. And so I had to learn to be comfortable or as comfortable as I could be um, in that spotlight and acknowledging that, like, hey, I am good at this thing, or hey, you know, I am this kind of person, or whatever the case may be. And it's still, I'm not gonna lie, it's still a very uncomfortable feeling for me, right? But I don't feel the need to run from it anymore. I don't feel the need to distract distract the people that are trying to give me the compliments, right? Because they're just trying to show me love. They're just trying to show me that they appreciate me, that they notice me. All of the things that I wanted as a child, they're trying to give these things to me, but I hadn't released that trauma, and because I hadn't released it, when they gave me the things that I needed, whoever these people are, right? It could be friends, it could be family members, it could just be people that I've met on the street, honestly. Um, it took a lot for me to accept it because I think I had gotten so used to being invisible that when I was seen, I didn't know how to process it. I felt like I needed to run from it. And even that's a mirror experience. That is a mirror experience that I had. And when I figured it out, when I tied it to this is where that comes from, it was like, boom. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was just shy. And now, I mean, I am shy, but that, what I felt was, wow, I can't even, there are no words. I was just crying like after that. After I had figured that out, I was bawling. And it was such a good nap afterwards, as I said, after crying, the naps are marvelous. But it was such an amazing feeling to be able to make that connection because then when I start feeling that way, when I start feeling that need to feel invisible, I don't even know if it's a need or if it's just maybe it is a need. I'm not sure. I'm still processing that in real time, right? And I think that it's important for me to say that. It's important for me to say for people that are listening that I am still processing these things. I'm still processing dealing with abandonment. I'm still processing dealing with feeling invisible at times. And I want to be very open and very vulnerable and very truthful about that, because I know that there will be people listening to this that when you are going through something and you're listening to someone else, maybe for guidance or for some type of connection, it can be very hard to relate sometimes when the person seems 100% healed, 100% perfect, which no one is, by the way, 100% like they're just on top of everything. And I'm not there. I'm not there. I am healed from a lot of different things, but there are certain aspects of me that I'm still discovering. Through this past relationship, I discovered more. I also discovered that I actually deserve an amazing partner. I don't deserve to settle. And that's one of the things that I thought I had to do. I thought I had to settle for certain things, right? But I don't. If I do, it's a choice. And I learned that from an example of watching people over time, watching them settle. Literally, a friend telling me um, that they were going to marry someone that they didn't love just because they felt as though they should get married. So, I mean, there are so many lessons all around us that people can teach us that reflect things that are going on within inside of us. It's just we have to be brave. We have to be brave when these lessons are presented in front of us, and we have to put our ego and our pride to the side, because those things are not going to help us heal at all. And don't feel shame when these situations come up, because they're just opportunities for us to be able to heal. They are the shadow work that we need to really be doing on ourselves. And shadow work, for those who are not familiar, it's deep, very, very, very deep trauma work that needs to be done for an individual to be able to grow and make the connection. I think that making the connection is one of the most important things, because when you can understand where the pain came from, where the specific trauma came from, it's much easier to understand that pretty much 100% of the time that it wasn't your fault. You are the person that got stuck with carrying a bag of rocks on your back that were not yours to carry in the first place. And knowing how to put them down is the hardest thing ever. Because when you have walked around with something for so long, even when you feel like it's not yours, it becomes a part of you. And even if that part of you is painful, to put it down is like putting part of yourself in the trash. And it can feel like that sometimes, even though this part is not you. Your trauma is not you. And we have to learn how to accept that and how to lay that down and cry for it, mourn for it, but let it go. We have to bury it, and not inside of ourselves. Shadow work is not about fixing yourself to be perfect, right? It's not about, oh, let me check everything off the list so that I'm a perfect individual. It's about seeing your whole self, accepting and loving your whole self, and also understanding that even these hurt aspects of yourself deserve love, and then they deserve to be released. They deserve to be released. They deserve to rest, and you have to let them go. You have to. And that person coming into your life is someone that is going to be able to reflect those aspects of yourself that you need to lay down, that you need to let rest. So I hope that this episode has bought you some peace if you are going through this right now. If you are dealing with a situation, or if you're in a situation where you can't understand what is happening and why you feel so triggered and why you feel so hurt and how this person could do this to you, or, all of these things that we wonder when we are having interactions with other people, whether they be friends, coworkers, romantic partners, whatever the case is. The next time you are in a situation where you feel as though you are being triggered and you don't understand why, if this person is getting under your skin in a way that you don't understand why, I want you to question why. Don't question their actions. Question your feelings. Question, is this really bothering me? Or is it something deeper than that? Go deeper. Question every emotion that you have. Think about a time where maybe you felt like this before and trace it back. I hope that this message brings you healing. I hope that this message brings you peace. And if anything, I hope that if you did feel alone, that you no longer feel that way. I am going through it. I am working through it. I have been working through it for years now. And healing it's just a path. It never ends. There's no person that is 100% healed. We all go through things. Life is about experiences, it's about learning, it's about healing, it's about growing. And we cannot do that if we don't have these types of experiences. So until the next episode, thank you so much for listening, beautiful souls. I am Tamara Alicia, your host, and I will talk to you guys on Wednesday.